So I called this community meeting because I've been hearing a lot from residents about the lack of access to services at DHS. So we are here today to call for the need to expand accessibility of DHS services to Rhode Island residents. And I have some elected officials that have come here in support. This is very important to all of us. And I have Senator DeMario, we have our Secretary of State Nellie Gorbea, and we also have Senator Acosta. So I'm very grateful that you all came to support this effort. So the DHS offices closed for in-person services at the onset of COVID. That was 22 months ago. And the lack of assistance is a barrier that's preventing some Rhode Islanders from getting and keeping critical services like SNAP, cash assistance, and especially childcare, things that are desperately needed at this time. When enhanced employment benefits ended in September, even more people were in need of SNAP and cash assistance. And obviously we would expect that that number would go up at that time. So SNAP benefits increased 5% across the country, but in Rhode Island, they went down 3% despite the high need for food assistance. So obviously that's not what we would expect during a pandemic, and it's not what we would expect during a rate of high unemployment. And we know it's definitely not for a lack of need. So that tells me that it's for a lack of access to services. Medicaid enrollment, however, went up. And that's because there is a network of trained navigators facilitated by the Rhode Island Community Health Center who help applicants use the online application process, and then they troubleshoot the issues. There's no established network like this for applications for SNAP or Rhode Island Works recipients. What DHS does is they instruct people to use their online system, but many don't have internet access or the services or devices to be able to do that, or don't have the digital skills to be able to navigate the application process. So if DHS is pushing people to use the online application, they need to provide navigators to help people use that. Additionally, applicants and recipients who have problems getting or keeping benefits are directed to call their contact at the DHS call center, where there are hour-long wait times to speak to DHS, which is just unacceptable. And sometimes they get to a DHS representative who may not even be able to resolve their problem. So some people have lost benefits simply because they were unable to complete the renewal process. Additionally, some parents haven't been able to return to work because they can't get rapid assistance to be able to get childcare assistance. So for instance, if I'm a mom and I get offered a job and I have to take that job in a week or 2 weeks, but it takes me 4 weeks or longer to be able to access that assistance, then I can't accept that job and I can't go back to work. So I do want to report that DHS is now open. I believe they opened today. It is limited service. And so while I appreciate that they are open, however, it's only by appointment. It's only for Rhode Island Works recipients, and it's only for recertification, not new applications. So I can also appreciate the concern about keeping everybody safe and keeping everybody healthy at this time, particularly during this COVID surge. But there really needs to be a long-term, comprehensive, transparent plan for a full and safe and COVID-compliant reopening. And that is what we are asking for today. But in addition to a long-term plan, if they are pushing people towards that call center, what we are asking for is an immediate response for the call center to be adequately staffed and more responsive to the people. If you call Health Source RI, you only wait 5-10 minutes for a representative. You should not have to wait 2 or 3 hours. So if someone needs help filling out the forms or they need follow through with a resolution on their case, there should be someone that they can call and speak to and not have to wait many hours. They should be only waiting 5 or 10 minutes, a reasonable amount of time. So essentially what we are asking today is to put the humans back into human services. And I'm happy to take any questions that you might have.
It seems coincidental that the place opened today when you called the press conference. Has it been open at all previous to this that you know?
No, all of the DHS offices have been closed for in-person services across the state. I know there were a couple not Woonsocket that opened recently for that limited access. But Woonsocket has not been open today, despite being in the same building with DLT. DLT is open and receiving clients by appointment.
I was going to ask about that. So DLT has been receiving clients for in-person appointments out of this building?
DLT has been receiving clients in person.
Do we know how long that's been going on?
I don't. The other distressing thing about this was when I went in a couple of weeks ago, I saw a whiteboard and it simply said DHS closed, and there was no forms. There was no one to ask for help. There was a security guard who, when I pressed him, gave me a handout with a number on it, which of course was that line where you would wait, many hours for a reply, but there wasn't even a number to call on the whiteboard. It was just simply set up with no information. And there is a drop box. It may have some instruction on it now, but however, it did not at that time. So people didn't even know to use a drop box or how to use it.
So what programs are they doing in this building right now, DLT?
I think they're offering just their regular DLT services. This was supposed to be set up as a one-stop so that people could go and get all of the services that they needed. So DLT has been open, but
Human Services is not?
But Human Services has been closed since the onset of the pandemic.
And today, they're still closed?
Today they are open, limited to only Rhode Island Works recipients by appointment and only recertification. No new applications.
The question, there seems to be this sort of chaotic mess about who's open, who's not open. And this is not just in these limited example of these two agencies, but across state government. And ultimately, I believe most of these organizations do report to the governor through the Department of Administration. Has there been any comment from the governor or DOA? And if I could also perhaps ask Ms. Gorbea the same question, is to bringing this all under some level of control? So we're not playing whack-a-mole here for our citizens?
Yeah, it's been certainly really frustrating for me trying to get answers. We have heard a lot of those concerns in committees, but we have not seen a comprehensive plan from the governor.
Have you heard from the head of DHS? I forget his name offhand, but
there's an interim director,
right, the interim director.
For DHS.
Yeah.
Something else that I would like to see is to see somebody appointed and be in that position, full, permanently, to head all of this up. I did talk to the assistant. I talked to the deputy director this morning, as a matter of fact, and she gave me a lot of really good information. But again, I expressed my concerns that I have expressed to you here today, and that we're not doing enough.
And you haven't heard
and shame on us.
And you haven't heard from the governor at all?
No.
Okay.
I know there were other senators that did meet with the governor several weeks ago, but I was not there, so I couldn't speak to that.
But ultimately, shouldn't the Department of Administration, who is obviously a direct appointee of the governor, be responsible for this? And can I throw this to both you and Secretary Gorbea as well?
Put her in the hot seat. I mean, I think that ultimately OHHS should be crafting a plan. If they do have a plan, or if they are crafting a plan, it'd be really great if they could share that plan with elected officials so that we could at least give our concerned residents and constituents some guidance as to what to do. And again, if the alternate plan is, okay, you're going to call this number, then those deficiencies need to be addressed. We can't continue to go on this way. I mean, at the end of the day, there are people and families and seniors and children that haven't been able to renew their SNAP benefits, who are going hungry because we have failed them as a state. And it's shameful and it's not acceptable.
Seemingly years later, the governor finally signed, I guess yesterday, a plan to spend 10% of the money, and we continue to have this enormous amount of money sitting in state coffers, while at the same time there are a variety of sectors in the state that can be described as in some form of meltdown. Thoughts on that?
Well, certainly for this particular issue, I will be pushing for that money to be used, and I have told the deputy director that we are here, these are elected officials, and we have many more that would support this effort. And so if there's something that they need then they would need to let us know, because I'm happy to work with them towards a solution to this problem. It has to happen.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
I'm just going to say that I want to publicly thank Senator Murray for shedding light on this very important issue. Government should work for people, and the people that we're talking about are those that can afford it the least to go without. And so you go to the Secretary of State's website, there's actually instructions on the website in both languages on what kind of services are available and how to do we have limited, yes, because of COVID, we had to take measures to close down. But we have in-person appointments on a limited basis. There's instructions in both English and Spanish. We had a record number of businesses incorporate 2020 and even a higher number in 2021. So services can be provided to people, but they have to be delivered in a way that's accessible to the public. And so that's what we're talking about today. There's some really good people working in state government against all odds, but they're not being given the tools and the resources to be able to manage their time and their resources effectively. And this is all about leadership. My agency runs with the same state employees that other state agencies run with. And so I want to call on the governor to please address this today. Thank you.